produce more of this, and it produces an effect. I'm not saying it does produce more of it. I'm not hooked up to any scientific equipment. I can't verify or deny this thing. But it does produce an experience, and it feels really good. I can almost make myself roll off of this process, neurotransmitter release or whatever. And I imagine that meditators are doing the exact same thing through different various meditation practices, tapping into certain areas of the brain, which when concentrated upon and enough energy is gathered there or whatever, releases a certain neurotransmitter. And enlightenment, in a way, or awakening or whatever, can be thought of as a certain neurological condition. And along with that, Diksha, specifically like oneness Diksha, is supposed to affect chemical changes in the brain. That having been said, it stands to reason that it would affect neurotransmitters, and that this process of neurochemical change in the brain has something to do with enlightenment, or the process of enlightenment has something to do with neurochemical change in the brain, etc. So I've sort of been linking these things together, and pretty much every day, several times throughout the day, I'm telling myself, I'm getting into my little position and telling myself, increase production of dopamine by 100%. And I was saying the reuptake of, but I understood the reuptake of a neurotransmitter to be a different process. I just looked it up, and it is different. So you sort of want to slow the reuptake of at least that's what the clinical drugs do. The clinical drugs slow the reuptake, SSRIs at least, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They slow the reuptake process of the neurotransmitter so that it's more readily available for other synapses and everything to use, so that you feel better for longer. I'm thinking if you have more of it, then you probably don't need it to stick around for as long in the first place. But there are two different processes that I was working with, and so I was basically just trying to tell it, make it readily available, produce more of it, and make it available for all of the areas within my brain to use. And it's weird. It's been an interesting process. I've been getting just like that. I've been getting these extreme head tingles like throughout the day, which that hasn't happened to me in quite a long time. But it could be also attributed to the Diksha. I've been working with Diksha every day as well. So I'm just doing this little process, increase the production of dopamine, increase etc., and the rest of it, and increase production of anandamide, DMT, and I do the same process. Each one is like this blast. It feels completely different, and you sort of get all these different sensations that come over you, and it sort of feels like being on a drug for a little while. The other day I did it, and I just had to lie in bed and cuddle with my blanket because it was so intense. But yeah, among other things. Yeah, I'll stop. Anyway, it's been really interesting because it's continuing to work, and then I found myself looking at myself in the mirror during the day, and I've just kind of got this this balance about me. And it could be just the neurotransmitter stuff, it could be just the Diksha, or it could be the combination thereof. I'm talking about both, so I'm saying it's a combination thereof. And I'm noticing it in my eyes, and I'm noticing it in my behavior. Really strange. But when I'm exercising, I've always had a problem with this. My thoughts really influence the energy of my body very strongly. And so if I look down and I start to feel like, oh my god, this is getting too strenuous for me, it's like my body shuts down and I can't run anymore. It's like that's how powerful my thoughts are on my physical machine. I'm popular today. Woo. But lately, and it's this weird process too. It has something to do with I don't exactly know how to describe it, the energy pathways that I've opened up with my eyes. The eyes are huge, huge, huge conductors of energy, receiving and giving. Everybody should know that. And I've made it, and I can feel it, that when I'm looking in a certain line or direction or whatever, I can feel the energy pathway that opens up to me. And so sometimes I'll have a certain thought and I'll place it in the certain energetic line out into the energy body, etc., and it produces a certain effect. It's really difficult to describe. But what I've been noticing is that when I exercise, I'll put my eyes in a certain position and it'll make my body feel a certain way, and then I have to I have to get out of that thought which caused my eyes to go down into that direction so that I can maintain stamina, you know? It's really bizarre. But lately, I haven't had to do that. It's just kind of like everywhere I look, it's just like level, and there's this like cloud of protection around me, because it doesn't hurt to pull in other thoughts and energies from that specific angle that I'm looking at, and it doesn't stimulate me in the same way that it did before. I don't think I realized it, but I was probably kind of out of balance, neurotransmitter wise, which is why I have, you know, problems with not severe depression, but just mild depression and malaise. I always have my entire life, so that's probably evident by neurotransmitter imbalance. Yes. So it's been really interesting. Really interesting. And I'm just finding myself just like going about things during the day, and I'm just like just like doing them. Whereas before they would really, really frustrate me. Like working. I like working, I like my job, but there's a certain aspect of it that I have to do. I have to do editing, and it used to really annoy me. Like sometimes to the point of extreme frustration, where, you know, you start hitting the key and the keyboard, you know, because you just you get so frustrated at the computer or whatever. But lately I've just kind of been doing it, and it's just been smooth and like flowing along. I'm starting to make lists, which is bizarre for me, like affirmation type things. I've never liked affirmations, you know, except personal affirmations, and I will tell myself and try to encourage myself internally. But to have a little like line, you know, posted on my computer that says you can do it or whatever, it's just always been like so distasteful to me, just because it doesn't mean anything, you know, unless you really, really dig down deep and make yourself believe it, because belief is powerful. But to really truly make yourself believe something takes a lot of effort. And there's all these things that get in the way of a simple affirmation. There's hang-ups and whatever. But I've been doing that. Like, not as cheesy as that, but I've got a list over here that tells me certain things about myself that I need reminding of. And I've been doing things in order, which is quite unlike me. What else? I guess that's about it. I just wanted to say that. Oh, yeah, and I've been consistent, which is interesting because I'm not a consistent person. I've been doing it every morning as soon as I wake up and going through this process. I wrote down some things, you know, that I need to do every day. I also created a symbol because I used to work with symbols a lot. Now I'm finding it less necessary because I can just, you know, tell this to happen, tell my brain to do this or whatever, and it seems to work. But sometimes it does help to have a symbol, so that you can have a symbol that is a program for all of this. So I was thinking about really interesting things of, like, you know, I can take, if I want better concentration or whatever, then you can do a combination of certain neurotransmitters in a certain ratio, have a symbol for that program, if you will, and then every time you concentrate on that symbol and put it into your brain or into your third eye area and fire it out there or whatever, then that's the combination of neurotransmitters that fire. Interesting. So I did that for one, and I'm trying to do it to regulate my metabolism, because my digestive system is pretty whacked, and I don't know, you know, I'm getting to that certain age where my metabolism isn't as, yeah, robust as it once was. And I have a varied diet. I eat well and I eat good stuff. But I'm not a vegetarian, you know, I'm not vegan, I'm not raw food or anything like that. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going into my system that needs to be burned up a lot faster. So I'm trying to do that to tune myself a little more. And that one's interesting, because when I do use that symbol to program this thing of everything, you know, to get all the organs working properly, to get, you know, the pancreas flowing and the liver for, you know, fat, not absorption, processing of fat and all the chemicals and all this craziness. I didn't take physiology. I should, yeah. It hurts. It's really interesting. My dog is crazy. It hurts. It's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Oh God, you know, what's happening now? And I'm continuing with it because obviously something is misaligned in my system, and this program is trying to tell it, no, this is the way you should be doing, so that you can be burning fat more, you can be using this fuel. That was nice. Yeah, you can be using this fuel more efficiently and getting rid of toxins and things and regulating your system much more efficiently. So that's what I've been up to. Oh yeah, and Diksha every day, at least once, and I've been using both types of Diksha, and it's just been really, really great. I've been noticing that oneness Diksha, you know, the oneness blessing, it doesn't put me in an altered state anymore, not really. Like, I can go as deeply into it as possible, and I kind of get there, you know, but it's not like it was before, where I like look at something and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm melting into that business card right now, you know. It doesn't exactly do that anymore. The Krishna Diksha has been kind of like, you know, like astonishing. It is that like awe-inspiring allness. So that's been interesting, and it seems to be getting more intense. So maybe the, you know, whatever that is for in this world, I seem to have been introduced to for a reason. The work with Diksha, at least the work that I do, will move towards that, the Krishna Diksha. Okay, that is all.